Welcome back. There are two concepts I want to discuss today. First is the structure and frequency of the psychoanalytic session, and the second will be the problem with problems. Psychoanalytic sessions, or psychotherapy sessions, fall under a wide range of structural issues. In terms of the frequency and the session duration, there are a few characteristics to understand. For the most part, when working therapeutically, we try to develop a consistency and a rhythm, a certain pace to our movement. Not too quick, not too slow, but a pace that reflects an individual's ability to process, synthesize, and rethink ideas, and take those ideas and create them in manifest behavior. Session lengths also need to vary. Commonly, a therapeutic session is 45 minutes. Mostly, I believe, this is a pragmatic issue and not a clinical or therapeutic issue. I recall when sessions were 55 minutes, then they became 50, now they're 45. I think for the most part, two characteristics produce that effect. One, the need to accommodate a certain number of people within a certain number of time. Many people come to treatment before or after work. 45-minute sessions work in that structure. And also insurance companies, which have helped to mold their reimbursement rates around that. But truly, session lengths need to be determined by the clinician based upon the therapeutic needs, the optimal results of the client, so that sessions can be of any length. I have worked with people who come in for 1 hour and 15-minute sessions, or who come in for 30-minute sessions, and the needs vary over time. So truly, the clinician needs to be cognizant of the changing needs and should be prepared to make adjustments to treat the person according to their needs. Frequency falls into a similar pattern. We like to see people come in once a week, or twice a week, or 3 times a week, based upon how we determine the clinical need, the optimal pressure, truly, for moving forward. But we have to take into account the tolerance level of the individual. Some people simply cannot tolerate coming in once a week or twice a week, every week, on a continual basis. And I think it's important for every clinician to gear themselves up to meet the client where the client is and slowly bring them to the optimal level of work to reach their goals. Not to be shoehorned or pigeonholed into what society says, because society will tell us that if you're in therapy once a week, well, then that's okay, but if you're in analysis 3 times a week, there's truly something wrong with you. Some of us look at it the other way around, having to do with the degree of power and energy and fortitude someone has for doing the work. However someone conceptualizes this, the clinician needs to be cognizant of the client's ability to tolerate the work, because the goal is to keep the person working, because that's going to prove fruitful over time. The other concept has to do with problems. We live in a world that currently pathologizes. No one is moody anymore. People are manic depressive. No one is a workaholic or a hard worker or determined. They are manic. And while these are real terms, manic depressive, obsessive compulsive, true diagnostic terms, I believe that the use of those terms by the client in session to describe themselves repeatedly or to describe their behaviors repeatedly is a self-sabotaging creation. I think it's a cognitive creation, unconsciously motivated, of course, which is a manifestation of a depression, or if you want, a pessimism. And I think another part of the structuring of the work is to help the individual to let go of those labels, to not be self-pathologizing all the time, and to try to begin to reframe it in a less painful terminology, or ultimately in a positive terminology. For example, if someone is obsessive, that's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, everything is of vital importance to them. On the other hand, everything is of vital importance to them. So nothing gets lost, nothing gets overlooked, nothing gets short attention. We can look at it both ways. It goes back to the old, is the glass half full or half empty? The way we create the phrase that defines who we are in those instances is the way we feel about ourselves. And part of the goal of any of the therapeutic processes is to improve the way someone feels about themselves by improving the way they manifest their self-ideation in the world. We'll talk more about these things next time.